Guam has an abundance of locally harvested fruits and vegetables, providing helpful ways to eat and representing our local heritage. Join me, Jonagan Charfris, during KUAM News Weekend Edition for Local Harvest, a special feature showcasing our local farms, recipes, restaurants, and businesses, embracing the movement towards a healthier Guam, support of the Buy Local movement, and a reverence for our cultural heritage.
Well, here we are. Good morning to you. And NBC begins a new program called Today. This is a program from America to America. We hope we can give you enough to stay with you for a long time.
Closed captioning is brought to you by IT&E Life in Motion. KUAM News Headlines is presented by Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust, serving Micronesia since 1938. Matson Navigation, serving Guam and Micronesia for 20 years. Cars Plus, Dodge Challenger, the undisputed champion. IP&E, fueling excellence. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. Pacific Solar and King's Restaurant, located in Tamuning and Dededo. Always open, always local.
Find out who's calling the shots at DOE while the future of John Fernandez's tenure with the agency remains up in the air. Also, one attorney was called out yesterday and today. Jackie Terlahi says she's not backing down with her complaint over the church controversy. And a new enhancement makes traveling to Guam an even more enjoyable stay for travelers getting through the airport quicker. Hafa and good evening, everybody. I'm Jason Salas. These are tonight's top stories. Well, we have new developments to report in the case of John Fernandez as our Isa Baza reports. A new acting administrator is in place after a meeting was held behind closed doors.
The recent vote on John Fernandez has many wondering who is leading the department in his absence. According to Acting Superintendent Joe Sanchez, he will remain the head of DOE. The decision was made not at the official board meeting Monday evening, but at an unofficial meeting just minutes later.
After the board meeting, as you know, the board took their vote, and right after that, they adjourned. So after that meeting, shortly after in the superintendent's office, I met with the board chair and the vice chair and some other board members, and they basically instructed me that I would be the acting superintendent until such time as they appoint an interim.
A majority of board members weren't present for these discussions. In fact, KUAM has learned that other members weren't even informed that Sanchez would remain acting until days later. One member went as far as sending a message to the others, asking what had been discussed at the after-hours meeting and calling it, quote, wrong, that the meeting was held without the other members present. When asked about this meeting, Gumatauchau said he could not speak to hearsay and added that an official board meeting cannot take place without a quorum or public notification. On Monday, Gumatauchau also said that despite the vote, Fernandez isn't actually fired until legal steps are taken. So does that mean they're looking for a new superintendent?
That's not what they said tonight. All they've said is that they're voting to terminate the contract. So then I've got to take the next steps under the law.
According to Guam law, Fernandez cannot be removed from office until a written bill of particulars has been given to him and before an investigation and an open and public hearing is held. While KUAM has learned that Fernandez was not given a copy of the internal investigation report, Gumatauchau confirmed Fernandez's lawyer, David Lujan, was provided notice of the status of the matter. It is unclear if Fernandez remains on leave, as his leave ended Tuesday and no official board action was taken. Meanwhile, the board plans to appoint an interim superintendent next week.
From my understanding, that requires a vote, and they would choose an interim superintendent to serve during the time. From what I'm told, they would be doing a search for the superintendent. So my understanding is I continue to act as the superintendent. I continue on with the operations and so on. So until they take a vote at the next board meeting.
Sanchez said despite the issues surrounding the board and the superintendency, he has met with DOE's management team to ensure stability. The meeting to vote in an interim superintendent is tentatively scheduled for October 13. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Isa Baza.
In other news tonight, the University of Guam cafeteria has partially reopened after shutting down for health and safety violations. Alyssa Ekelvea has our next story.
KUAM News confirms the University of Guam voluntarily shut down its cafeteria or food court after an inspection by the Department of Public Health. Jonas Macapinlac is the Director of Integrated Marketing and Communications.
A couple of weeks ago, we received some reports of some pests in the area, and we typically have like pest mitigation in all of our buildings. And so when we heard about that, we decided to take a look. And what ended up happening is we closed the cafeteria down for about a little over a week. And we made sure we cleaned everything up.
The voluntary closure follows an inspection by the Department of Public Health. Evan Lum is an environmental health officer with the agency.
Sure, yeah, walking around the kitchen and storage areas, there was a bunch of indicators of rodent activity, including there was kind of running marks along the walls, track marks also on the floor. There was nesting areas. There was feces in a bunch of different areas and a lot of holes in the walls.
Because of those holes in the walls, Lum suspects the rodent infestation could have been in existence for several months. Macapinlac says since the closure, the university has cleaned up its act, and currently one of the cafeteria's 3 vendors, Crosswalk, reopened this week. The cafeteria is located in the Student Services Center, which is 30 years old. According to Macapinlac, a new center will be constructed.
We're really looking forward to this new Student Services Center. We feel like it's going to really change the student experience and student life on campus. We're going to have an expanded bookstore with more offerings. We're going to have several other food vendors in there, a coffee shop, an area for students to really congregate and meet.
Until that happens, Macapinlac says the remaining cafeteria vendors will be reopening soon. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Alyssa Eclevea.
Well, not once but twice now has the Archdiocese of Agana cleared Monsignor James Beneventi's name after allegations of financial mismanagement were made against him. Could they need to clear his name a third time? One sitting board member of Catholic Cemeteries is saying they are not going to withdraw a complaint that they recently filed with the Guam police for the misuse of funds. Crystal Paco explains.
On Monday, the Archdiocese of Agana called out attorney Jackie Terlahi and other members of the Catholic Cemetery's Board of Directors to resign. This after they approved a resolution to file a complaint against Monsignor James Beneventi with the police department. That complaint was filed Friday, just hours after the church cleared his name.
I am compelled to publicly address the statements of the Archdiocese of Agana, accusing me of falsifying a certification of a resolution as the Secretary of the Board of Directors of the Catholic Cemeteries of Guam, Inc.
The church contends Catholic Cemeteries is an entity of the Archdiocese and had no authority to release those documents. The church also contends there was never a meeting or a unanimous vote to pass the resolution. Terlahi argues otherwise and states it was a consent to action, meaning no meeting was necessary.
The facts provided to GPD and the AG are the truth, and I am obliged as an officer of the Catholic Cemeteries to protect the funds entrusted to me by the deceased and by the numerous Catholic families who have buried their loved ones with the Catholic Cemeteries.
At issue are 2 checks totaling over $13,000 in church funds, which were used to pay for Monsignor James Beneventi's 20th anniversary dinner. According to former members of the Catholic Cemetery's Board of Directors, they authorized those checks. But according to attorney Jackie Terlahi, that board and their bylaws were never recorded at the Department of Revenue and Taxation.
There are no corporate records or meeting minutes supporting the Archdiocese statement that the previous board had approved the advancement of funds for the personal use of Monsignor James Beneventi.
On Tuesday, attorney David Lujan, who represents Beneventi, further threatened to take legal action against Terlahi should she fail to withdraw her complaint and write an apology letter to his client.
If Mr. Lujan believes that he has a basis to threaten legal action against me for doing what I have done, and that is to protect the cemetery funds, then I invite him to do what he believes is legally acceptable.
The Catholic Cemetery's Board of Directors met late Wednesday afternoon. No updates were available as of news time. To read Terlahi's statement in its entirety, visit our website. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Crystal Paco.
Well, we reported, of course, this morning on our Facebook page that family have identified the girls in last week's fatal Geo house fire as sisters Maya, Maylene, May-En, Rona, and Rinsen. According to autopsies conducted earlier this week, the young women were ages 2 to 16. Each was killed by asphyxia due to soot and smoke inhalation. Fire investigators determined an unattended candle sparked the fatal flames. Jerry's funeral services have confirmed a public viewing has been scheduled for October 14th from 6 to 10 p.m. at Island Funeral Home in East Agana. The girls will be laid to rest the following day at Vicente Limtiaco Cemetery in Nimitz Hill. Well, a boot drive was held at the island's major intersections this afternoon to benefit the victims of last week's fatal fire up in Jigo. Locations included the Micronesia Mall, the ITC intersection in Tamuning and Paseo Loop, and the airport intersection. If you happen to miss today's boot drive and you'd still like to donate to the family, you can call Adaloop. Their number is 472-8931. That's 472-8931. Well, please stay tuned. There is much more news coming up after this.
There are more ways to experience KUAM News than any other source on Guam. Download the KUAM News app for your Apple or Android device for 24/7 news, sports, videos, weather, streaming with KUAM radio, and important news alerts. And stay connected at home with Guam's first app for Apple TV. All available now from the App Store.
Have you gotten paid yet? That's the premium automatic insurance deduction plan from Calvo's Insurance. Paid simplifies your home and auto insurance. No down payment. No more long lines. And you can stretch your payments up to 12 months. Paid is convenient. It deducts from your payroll, your checking account, or your credit card. With Paid, you get up to 65% off your car insurance and enjoy lifestyle club discounts. Life can be easier when you get paid.
Call Calvo's Insurance today and save on your home and auto insurance.
Hi, I'm interested in one of your new Samsung devices.
No problem. Check our new Galaxy S7 Edge.
Our network is faster and more reliable with increased reach throughout the islands, Guam, and the sea to rise.
What do you think?
It's lit.
Make sure we're getting ready. Excuse me. Hey, Flacco, what's in the bag?
McDonald's new Mighty Wings.
Those look good. I'll play you for them.
For what, my wings?
First one to miss has to watch the other one eat.
Let's go. Left upright.
I want the off the scoreboard through the uprights. Oh, man. Not again.
Cap, you trying to get my wings?
Nah, I'm right here.
What's that noise?
Why aren't you training for the Coco's Kids race, bro? Shoo, not even fair, bro. I'll just win that. Boom.
Calling all parents. Sign your kiddos up for this costume run October 29th. Register now at GuamCocoRoadRace.com.
Connect with KUAM News. Find us on your favorite social media platform. Follow us and stay in the know with Guam's news leader.
Now, just as Guam is expected to surpass tourism arrivals from the last fiscal year, your airport unveiled its latest customer service initiative to help speed up processing for new visitors. Ken Kitaniza has more.
It marks an important time for our island.
And I know that numbers will be coming out real soon on the total visitor tallies. And this is all unofficial, but we are going to be either close or over 1.5 million tourists coming to the island of Guam.
And if the numbers match up as the fiscal year 2016 closes out, the unofficial numbers could very well surpass FY15 figures, which recorded the second top fiscal year in Guam's tourism history. Guam welcomed 1.37 million visitors in FY15, behind Guam's top banner year from FY 1997 with 1.4 million visitors. And with more arrivals mean more people making their way through our airport. Today, the Guam International Airport Authority unveiled its latest customer service initiative with 8 new automated passport control units. Airport Board Chairman Ricardo Duenas.
This represents an investment of over $500,000. And it's an investment not just in these 8 kiosks, but also in the infrastructure that can expand as the program builds, as it becomes more successful. We'll have the opportunity to expand on these kiosks and add more.
With these new kiosks, this makes the Guam International Airport Authority the first in any U.S. territory to invest in this type of technology. The use of these self-service kiosks will help simplify entry by automating the administrative functions with the two-step process by making entry faster and more efficient for both the customs officers and the travelers alike. The U.S. CBP Hall welcomes up to 5,000 people a day. Now, instead of filling out a paper customer's declaration form, eligible passengers can now proceed directly to the self-service APC kiosk in the passport control area. Travelers using APC kiosks are expected to experience shorter wait times, less congestion, and faster processing. The airport expects 4 times more travelers processed per border officer and up to 50% less space required than traditional entry booths. And while they still shoot for 2 million tourists by the year 2020, Governor Eddie Calvo says it's up to stakeholders on Guam to not only keep up with the rising numbers, but enhance the visitor experience and processing time on Guam.
What use is there to build more hotel rooms if you have 3, 4, 5 hour waiting times at an airport? And that's why it was so critical for projects such as this.
This initiative joins the airport's new ambassador program that allows workers fluent in different languages to lead visitors and help them fill out forms and send them in the right direction. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Ken Quintaniza.
Now, just in time for the holidays, HK Express will be launching a new Guam route on December 15th and a Saipan route on January the 18th. HK Express provides 4 times a week operations, with Executive Manager of the airport, Chuck Atta, welcoming the new service, saying it's an opportunity to enhance travel preference to Guam as a destination. Check out hkexpress.com for more. Well, Congresswoman Madeline Bradao, in other news tonight, says a class action lawsuit over the denial of H-2B visas is unfortunate, but believes it may be, quote, necessary to resolve the current impasse in a more permanent fashion. On Wednesday, Attorney Jennifer Davis, on behalf of 12 local companies, filed suit in district court against officials from the feds. Bradao says nearly all the denial rate of H-2B visas over the past year continues to negatively impact Guam, adding the denial of visas is concerning as Guam's organic workforce cannot meet the current labor demands, especially with the specialties of many of these foreign laborers providing. She says she'll fight for the inclusion of her legislative fix for the problem in next year's defense authorization bill. Well, just in time for Bullying Prevention Month, school resource officers are coming back. According to Judiciary Director of Policy, Planning, and Community Relations, Clint Rigel, the contract was signed and the program will roll out in schools shortly. The SRO program, as you know, and its accompanying bullying prevention programs were temporarily suspended due to changes in policy at the federal level.
The school resource officers, of course, are there to help provide security and provide a law enforcement entity there within the schools. They're also there to help deter bullying and within the schools, but also even for judicial officers.
October has been designated as Bullying Prevention Month with the theme Promoting Kindness and Respect on Social Media. And 9 GPD officers were promoted, as former Senator Mark Charfers was promoted to police colonel, while Manny Chong and Andrew Kitagwa now hold the title of police major. Promoted to the rank of police captain are Paul Sayama, Scott Wade, Darren Caldwell, Joseph Carbolito, Ronnie Barcinas, and Kenneth Metanonia. According to Police Chief Joseph Cruz, the promotions mark growth in the department and positive changes. And you will definitely want to join us for another exciting episode of D16 tonight. That starts at the bottom half of the hour. Scheduled to be our guests are senatorial candidates Senator Tina Muna Barnes, AJ Balahaja, and Ben Servino. It's completely interactive, which means you can not only watch on KUAM TV8, but also on YouTube and Facebook Live, sending in your comments and tapping the emoji to watch the candidates' reaction as they respond to your questions. Make sure to tune in. Stay tuned. Sports is next.
Senator Brant McCready continues to address issues head-on that matter most to the people of Guam. Senator McCready has fought to reduce senatorial salaries since his first term in 2013. He fought to eliminate wasteful spending at the legislature by introducing a measure that would prohibit the use of government funds for travel. Senator McCready continues to invest in public safety by introducing legislation to hire 200 new police officers to protect and serve our community. Senator McCready fights for victims of violent crimes by introducing the Vulnerable Victims Act of 2014 and Three Strikes Law. In addition, he defends victims of sexual abuse with the Predator Prevention Act and the Chemical Castration for Sex Offenders Act of 2015. Senator Brant McCready works to protect your family and Guam's future.
Vote for your public safety senator, number 10 on the Republican ballot.
The Heineken Laugh Factory brings you Rex Navarrete, live in Guam.
I really want to see Filipino cuisine on Food Network. I'm tired of seeing Filipino cuisine on Fear Factor.
The premier Filipino-American comedian performed alongside George Lopez, D.L. Hewley, and Paul Mooney returns to Guam on October 7th and 8th at the Sheraton Laguna Guam Resort at 7 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. each night. General admission tickets, $25, available at all 76 Circle K and online at tpiguam.com. Get your VIP tickets, $40, available at Guam Auto Spot and also online at tpiguam.com. Rex Navarrete, live in Guam. Presented by Heineken. Please enjoy responsibly. Brought to you by these fine sponsors. With special thanks to This is a Tropical production.
Go for the Coco! Register for the Guam Coco Road Races! The all-new Coco Road Race is bigger and better than ever! So join the Coco and start training today! We've added the 10K run-up to the half marathon and Eggerton Relay! Run in costume and win cash prizes! Enjoy the live entertainment at the post-race Monster Bash after the races! Register online now for the Guam Coco Road Races at guamcocoroadrace.com!
So what's the next one up? Says it's a Buick. Wow, that doesn't look like a Buick.
So your dad let you borrow the Buick, Mr. Simmons. And it's got a 5-star overall safety rating. I don't think that's what he's worried about.
I bet you haven't seen anything like it.
It's a Buick.
And what you'd call an early adopter.
Now, get this 2016 Buick Verano starting at $19,995. Visit AutoSpot Buick today for great offers. We are your Buick dealer of Guam.
Off day, Guam, Chris Barnett with sports on this Wednesday hump day. Big, huge show for you in store, but let's kick it off first with Guam Basketball Association. Little team profile on the UOG Tritons. You can call them the Young Guns. The University of Guam Tritons into their second season in the Guam Basketball Association. And one thing about being young, sometimes you get the growing pains. After losing GBA Season 1 breakout star Darren Hechanova to MVP, the Tritons, relying on point guard Andrew Carlos to bear the burden on offense. Carlos anchors a very young team, including standout UOG freshman guard Carlo De Leon and forward Devin St. Augustine, both of whom were high school stars just last year at George Washington High School.
Well, we're really trying to develop a university program. That's the main goal, is to develop the young players who are coming out of high school, giving them opportunity to compete in the next level.
Mendiola says the Tritons, winless thus far in Season 2, are good, but they're going for great, and they've definitely got to adjust to the steep learning curve in the GBA. One of the things that makes Guam's premier hoops league a breed apart, the rough and tumble style of FIBA rules play in the GBA. And Mendiola says that will help the young'uns grow their game.
The refs are really letting us play unlike the outside leagues. They're letting us get physical down low. So, we have to prepare our bodies, and it's good for the young boys to be able to develop that skill set in order to play their game with the contact, with the physicality.
DeLeon is a scoring threat, and he'll get help from three-point specialist Mark Tandock. Former junior national team player Jorge Piolo and St. Augustine's presence down low shore up this squad of young whippersnappers. With Carlos being the Tritons' main scorer, he can draw more than 20 PZs a game consistently. The Tritons are hoping to run him and gun him in the GBA. And Carlos says he hopes youth can trump experience this year in the Guam Basketball Association.
We can use our youth as a strength, and we use our quickness. It comes in hand when all these older people in the league want to slow things down. We want to run the fast breaks.
Let's stay with the GBA now. Team Justice taking on the Phoenix. UOG Calvo Fieldhouse, Tomas Calvo off on the shot. Michael Williams, rebound, a putback. Justice player, Joaquin Charveris with the tip pass to Kyle Gammon. Back that thing up, reverse off the glass. Harris D'Angelo left open, too much space by the D. D'Angelo, long three, wait for it, money. Reggie hit the Rechabong with the answer the other way for Team Justice. Rechabong making the defense pay. Buries the deep ball, Pico Cemetery. Mark Tamarowski, all about that baseline, shots off. T-Dog stays with it, gets the basket to go for the Phoenix. Justice got the win, though, 92-86. Derek Royster, GPA, power move inside for the finish. Bombers taking on the Tooth Fairies in the battle of the undefeateds. Thomas Russ going window for Phoenix. Bombers Ollie Bradley with the pass inside. Tony Moses almost losing the handle. Gives it up to Jerry Clayton on the down low for the score. Bombers up early. Kurt long drives, kicking the ball out to Merwin Martin, who's wide open for the Tress. Bombers going inside here to big man Christian Kakonda. Putting the ball down, one dribbler, and goes glass for the bucket. A Kurt Long from up top. Rain Man! Three-pointer, all net to Lonza. Bombers stay unbeaten behind the 97-83 win. Here's Raheem Trahan with Datri. Free registration for Trench Mutter ends tonight, midnight, so save yourself some ducats and register at trenchmutter.com. For Guam's premier 5K obstacle race, of course, solo and team options available, and there's also a 5K trail run going down this Sunday at the Guam International Raceway. Get it, because finishers, they get it with a post-race beer, Trench Mutter dry fit, and finishers medal. There's going to be post-race pizza from Papa John's, and remember, it's all benefiting Special Olympics Guam. So once again, pre-registration ends at midnight, so go on your internet thingies and register at trenchmutter.com. Trench Mutter. Say it with me. Trench Mutter. Trench Mutter. Hey, for an exclusive sneak peek of the Trench Mutter Finishers Dry Fit, you can go to I-94's Instagram. That's at I-94FM. And it's your boy, modeling. Get it? All right, that's at I-94FM. And then tomorrow's show, we got an exclusive sneak peek of some of the Trench Mutter course. That's a Goopat right here on the show. My name's Chris. Do me a favor, Fen. Keep on shining, Guam. Adios!
Q50 holding short runway 19 right. Q50, do you copy? 227, runway 19 right. Roger that. Q50, clear for takeoff? Clear for takeoff.
The 2016 Q50 from Infinity.
Ruby Tuesday now gives you more for lunch. Endless trips to the Fresh Garden Bar, plus add-ons, mini combinations, and even new meal options. It's the new lunchtime menu, available Monday to Friday until 2 p.m., only at Ruby Tuesday.
For 20 years, Matson has been an important part of our everyday lives. Bringing in the cars we drive, the food we eat, and the materials that helped build our homes. From caring for our land through the Adaki Itanu program to generously supporting our local charities, Matson has contributed to the preservation and growth of our island. On behalf of those you've served throughout your 20 years on Guam, Matson.
For the first time in 27 years, a non-luxury brand has won the prestigious J.D. Power Award for initial quality. And that brand is Kia. That's right, Kia, the automaker that brought you the funky award-winning Soul and the rugged Sportage SUV ranked highest among 33 of the world's best manufacturers. And your new Kia not only comes with award-winning quality, but it's backed up by a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Quality comes standard with every Kia from Triple J. Check out our proud Kia lineup online at triplejguam.com. Get pre-approved instantly. triplejguam.com. Trade-ins welcome. Triple J Auto Group. Customers first.
Alyssa Eclavea has this week's Think Green report about Arbor Day.
Think Green is presented by Pacific Solar and Photovoltaics, keeping Guam green one roof at a time. Call 632-4002 for more information.
The University of Guam's Center for Island Sustainability, in partnership with Guam's Forestry, wants to celebrate Arbor Day with the community. CIS has received trees from the Guam's Forestry Division to be planted on October 14 at 1 p.m. in Dean Circle at House 32. Associate Director Els Demulanata.
For Arbor Day, we want to celebrate the urban forestry, more specific, sustainable urban forestry. And we removed some invasive trees from around our house, and we want to add some native trees instead. So it's important for our Guam forest for us not to have invasive trees in urban settings, because seeds will fly into the forest and actually do damage to our native forest.
There are many invasive plant species on Guam. One of the more well-known is the pink tacoma. CIS uproots the pink tacoma trees and replaces them with the joga tree. Demulanata will be highlighting ethnobotany, which is the multiple uses of plants during their Arbor Day celebration.
It's important for our culture. Guam has been using native trees a lot for different uses. And one of the plants we're going to plant has very fragrant flowers and has been used for flower lace. It's a native tree that's called wangu.
This event is open to the public and will be providing organic made refreshments. There will be more information on how the benefits of planting local tree species, as well as other ways to think green.
Another thing we want to showcase is how we do mulching. Mulching is another way of taking care of your tree and adding nutrients to the soil compared to like adding fertilizer. So it's a slow release fertilizer, and you can actually recycle some of your paper products and add them to your trees, around your trees.
For more information, please see the Center for Island Sustainability website at www.uog.edu/CIS or call 735-2918. With this week's Think Green, I'm Alyssa Eclavea.
Think Green is presented by Pacific Solar and Photovoltaics, keeping Guam green one roof at a time. Call 632-4002 for more information.
All right, Cold Stone Creamery birthday time. So we say happy birthday and what a day to Geronimo Limes, who had a birthday today. Happy birthday, young man. Also, happy 16th birthday to Noah John Kanata Rosalind. And happy birthday to one of our friends, KUAM alumni, Joey Guerrero. Go on KUAM.com to register for the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club and tune in and stay right there. Also, get your devices and you want to make sure to log into our Facebook Live page because V16 starts right now. Interact with the candidates next.
Closed captioning is brought to you by IT&E Life in Motion.
Talk Day, everyone. Welcome to D16 tonight. I'm your host, Crystal Paco, and joining us live in studio are senatorial candidates, Republican Ben Servino, Republican AJ Balahaja, and incumbent Democrat Tina Rose Munya Barnes. So thanks so much, guys, for sharing your time with us. And as you may know, this show is completely interactive. Almost all of your questions are coming from our viewers who are watching us live on Facebook, and I'm watching too, so I can get your questions. Before we begin, I'll give each of you 30 seconds to introduce yourselves. So let's start closest to me, AJ.
Thank you. Thanks for having us here. My name is Albert John Balahaja. Most know me as AJ Balahaja. I am from Chalanpago. I'm married and I have 3 children. I have 32 years of experience with the Guam Police Department, and 16 of those years were as PIO of the Guam Police Department.
Okay. Tina?
Thank you, Crystal and KUAM, for having me. Happy Day, Guam. My name is Tina Rose Munya-Barnes. I'm from the village of Chalampago, formerly of Manila. I've been married to Jacob Cruz Barnes from Santa Rita for over 34 years. We have 4 children, 5 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. Thank you. I hope our people can vote for us.
Day, I'm Ben Servino. I'm from Derrido, and I'm married to Martha Bamba from Agana Heights. We have 4 children. And my wife just returned back to Guam, and 2 of my sons, so they're really excited to be back in Guam.
Okay, so first question. Why should anyone vote for you, and what makes you qualified? And this is interesting because 2 of you are new faces. Mr. Servino, can you start off?
Sure. I believe that I'm, one of the recruits that just came in, a new recruit. I'm the voice of the most vulnerable, the people with disabilities, the youth, the elderly, and also the veterans. And I believe with my experience in the government, I've got over 38 years of government service, and also working in the field of disabilities as the director of DISIT. I believe I can provide the knowledge, skills, and abilities from that experience to share with our people and benefit our constituents.
Beautifully said. Ms. Tina?
Thank you. I truly believe that leadership begins with listening. And I believe that I bring good facilitation to the table. I have 34 years of government service working at the Public Defender's Office for 15 years, helping provide legal representation to those in the indigent community. I was at the Department of Integrated Services for Individuals with Disabilities for 6 years, advocating for all persons with disabilities as a one-stop center. We had that office open, and 6 terms as your public servant, and I'd like to continue to bring new resources to the table.
AJ?
Well, I truly believe that I'm qualified for the position of senator if elected. I've been with the Guam Police Department, like I mentioned earlier, for 32 years, so I have 32 years of experience. I am knowledgeable and have relations with upper management and all forms of law enforcement within the government of Guam, to include the federal government. So I want to continue that rapport within the legislature and be able to hold the individuals that commit certain crimes against our community accountable, and working closer with those agencies as well.
So collectively, we have almost 100 years of GovCom experience just right in front of me. And that's to assure you that they are very qualified. My next question is raising the minimum wage. It's not just a debate locally, but nationally. Do you support it? And if so, explain. Ladies first. Sorry, Mr. Servino.
Sure. Yes, I believe everyone here on Guam should get a raise. I think it's important, as Guam's cost of living is very high. I think that we should look at raising the minimum wage, but I also think that it's important that we look at all the components. We need to look at what the private sector has to say, especially with small business operations, and get a collaboration of feedback from the community. But Guam's cost of living is really high, and affording them that opportunity to get into, spend back into the community, I think that we should look at raising the minimum wage.
AJ?
Well, I agree with Senator Barnes in regards to asking the public and the private sector how they feel about increasing the minimum wage. With that said, minimum wage is only a starting point for people that come into the workplace, and after a while, hopefully they receive their pay increases as time permits them in their capacity in that job. That being said, I think that if an employer is providing the essentials such as medical and dental, then I support the increase of the minimum wage if, in fact, they do not have that benefit.
Okay, Mr. Servino?
The federal minimum wage is now $7.25. It hasn't been increased in the last 7 to 9 years. I think it's high time we really look at that and put parity there. And there's a lot of people here that are, working 2 jobs because they can't afford to maintain their lifestyle here in Guam, high cost of living. So I really look at minimum wage as a way to address some of those challenges for our people.
Okay, the next question is actually viewers submitted from Elizabeth Agagi, who asks, what are your plans to improve facilities for elderly care? Seeing as you may be the youngest on this, I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm the youngest. You know, our Manunko are very important. I mean, they're what holds us together as a culture, and we need to take care of our Manunko. And you know, times are becoming tougher and tougher with you know, affordable housing and being able to count on your family as being able to, you know, take care of you when you get older. So I think that we need to support, you know, places that are able to take care of our elder, and I support any kind of project that would provide that type of care for our elder.
Mr. Servino?
You know, the elderly really need an accessible facility. And, you know, that's one of my fortes, is ensuring that it's accessible and it complies with the Americans with Disabilities Act guidelines and accessibility. But, you know, as we look at people who are now becoming elderly, we're going to be there one day. You know, we need to look at the industry of assisted living, you know, because that's an industry that is now forthcoming here in Guam. I know in the States it's very popular, where family members can no longer be able to take care of their loved ones, so they have to rely on assisted living.
And Ms. Tina?
I totally agree with these two fine gentlemen, and I think it's important that we don't even have to look far. We've introduced legislation and closed the gap with a lot of homes, now called summer homes, that provide housing facilities that are ADA compliant for our elderly. And I think it's important that we continue to collaborate with the community and engage to see what the desires and the needs are for our manamkos, so what we call our who we call our sinus, and both recommendations very great. And as we already have that going on right now, I think we just continue to enhance what we already have existing today.
Okay, so we've all kind of been in agreeing so far to everything. So this next question, maybe you might disagree.
Okay.
What political status do you support? Free association, independence, or statehood, and where do you stand? Christina, go first.
Crystal, I must share with you that if you would ask this question to me even a decade ago, I would have probably said I'd like a closer relationship with the United States. But as I continue to work as your policy maker and as a public servant, I think as I look at my brothers and sisters within Micronesia and around our region, true independence and self-governance of who we are as island people is very important. And I think that we can even look at the parameters of independence. Believe it or not, Palau is a great country. They've been able to have a seat at the table at the United Nations, even our brothers and sisters from Micronesia. And I think it's important that we too can step up to the plate.
Okay. Mr. Servino, your stance on political status?
You know, personally, coming from the States and coming to Guam, returning back to Guam, and losing that right to vote for the president has really disturbed me. I feel like I'm a second-class citizen. And, you know, it's high time that we send a message to Congress and to the federal government that we aren't second-class citizens. We need to look at possible independence. I don't think they'd ever give us statehood. If they did that, they'll probably open up Pandora's box for, you know, in Puerto Rico to also become statehood. And I don't think they want to do that, because Puerto Rico, again, they go bankrupt because a lot of people there are living in poverty.
Okay, and AJ?
Again, I'm going to have to agree with my colleagues here. You know, I truly believe also in, if it was to be held today, I would support independence. I truly believe that we can still have a relationship with the U.S. government, but we need to be able to be heard. We need a voice, and our people are tired, and we really need to be able to step up and fight for who we are as people.
Okay, beautifully said. Our next question is viewers submitted from Oralo Aflaqui Jennifer. She's asking, are you willing to cut your pay, and are you willing to have the community vote for your pay raises instead of you overall? Who wants to go first?
Say that question. Please repeat the question.
It's, are you willing to cut your pay, and are you willing to have the community vote for your pay raises? AJ first.
Well, I'll answer that. Being that I'm not in the legislature, you know, I certainly cannot speak for the senators that are sitting there now. If given that opportunity, in the 34th Guam legislature. That would be something that I would have to definitely do my homework on. But if it's the will of the people, then I support the will of the people, regardless of what the outcome of that would be.
Okay, Ms. Tina?
Well, I want to share with you, Crystal, in the 27th Guam legislature, we did have our pay cut by 20%, and I have no problems with that. Working with the mayors and the vice mayors, or the 24/7 responders to everything that happens in their villages, we worked really hard to get them into the Competitive Wage Act. And now that they're in it and we're included, I committed to the mayors and the vice mayors that I would not have that taken away from them. So I did not vote for the repeal. But if you ask me that to take my pay raise away and then have the people vote for it, I definitely would support that effort.
Mr. Servino?
I too would support it. Again, I took a pay cut to come to Guam. And, to me, it's not about the money. It's about giving back to the community, giving back to our people. And that's why we're here. And, I'm a public servant. I've been a public servant for over 38 years, 10 years for the federal government, 10 years for the state of California, and now here in Guam, 18 years. So it's for the people.
And all spoken like true public servants. Again, stay tuned. We'll continue this discussion with D16 when we return after the break.
Smiling is a natural response to joy, happiness, and excitement. Your smile reveals a lot about who you are. A healthy, beautiful smile can brighten your appearance and be an invitation to conversation and friendship. It is often one of the first things people notice about you. Now, thanks to the advancements in dentistry, you can have the smile you have always wanted, giving you an improved smile that looks and feels great.
My silver fillings that I have, they're getting older in my mouth and I need to replace them. So I've started to do that and I've replaced them with the white fillings and I've had really great success with that. It looks good, they feel natural, and it kind of goes hand in hand with the bleaching. I want a white look all around my mouth.
IT&E is giving away a trip to Manila, plus other fabulous prizes during our Stay In and Win prepaid promotion. All you have to do is stay in IT&E's 4G LTE network. Keep topping up load, and you're eligible to win. 10 winners will receive a $10 load every Friday during the promotion. Stay in for 3 months, and you could win a 3-month Hulu gift card. Stay in for 6 months, and you're entered to win the grand prize, a trip for 2 to Manila. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details or visit ite.net. IT&E Motion Prepaid. Life in motion.
The Heineken Laugh Factory brings you Rex Navarrete live in Guam.
I saw a Filipino downtown Oregon, so I reached out to him. He's in a Filipino telepathy, right? I just went, right?
The premier Filipino-American comedian performed alongside George Lopez, D.L. Hewley, and Paul Mooney returns to Guam on October 7th and 8th at the Sheraton Laguna Guam Resort at 7 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. each night. General admission tickets, $25, available at all 76 Circle K and online at tpiguam.com. Get your VIP tickets, $40, available at Guam Auto Spot and also online at tpiguam.com. Rex Navarrete, live in Guam. Presented by Heineken. Please enjoy responsibly. Brought to you by these fine sponsors. With special thanks to... This is a Tropical production.
Tourism, it's our #1 industry. As Guam's largest employer, tourism supports 20,000 jobs. In fact, 1 out of every 3 jobs is tourism related. Annually, tourism generates over $150 million in tax revenue. Without it, every household would pay an additional $3,100 per year. From real estate to retail, tourism has a positive impact on every industry. Make Guam a better place to live, work, and visit. Support tourism.
There's no place on Guam like Chuck E. Cheese's. It's tons of fun with so many games, and parties are a blast, where everyone has fun. Come and party at Chuck E. Cheese's Guam. Call and book your party today.
It's the kickoff to savings event at Cars Plus in Muncie, going on now through September. Save thousands on a brand new Hyundai. Experience the award-winning Hyundai lineup with the best warranty on Guam. 10 years or 100,000 miles. The 2017 Hyundai Elantra starting at just $16,995. That's right, a 2017. Or how about the Hyundai Accent starting at just $11,995? Unbeatable. SUV lovers, the Hyundai Tucson is starting at just $21,995. The perfect vehicle for those tailgate parties. Visit CarsPlusGuam.com for easy shopping and quick financing. Kick off the savings going on now at Cars Plus, driven by you.
Welcome back to D16 tonight. Our guests this week are Republican Ben Servino, Republican AJ Balahaja, and incumbent Democrat Tina Rose Muñoz-Barnes. If you've got a question, feel free to post it on our Facebook live stream. And remember, please post your sentiments in real time. So if you like the responses to the questions, make sure to share the emoji. Give them a thumbs up, give them a smiley face. And it truly was, they're truly in the hot seat because we had to take a water break over the commercial break. The next question is from a viewer at home who asked, Yoichi K. Rengo asked, are you in support of Governor Cavo's action by deporting Micronesians who are incarcerated? And I think Yoichi means to say commuted prison sentences. So
Yes.
if you could go first, Ms. Tina.
Yes. Crystal, there is a difference between commuting and deportation. And deportation is a federal program, and commuting is by the Organic Act, the authority for the governor to work with that. For me, if we could save any of those monies from having to spend it at the Department of Corrections, taking that money that could be freed up and giving it to the Department of Education or Department of Public Health or the hospital, then yes, I want to look at that. But the governor is within his authority to commute, and I know that the federal government has stepped up to the plate and has worked on with the deportations as recommended by the governor.
Okay, AJ?
I also support the governor as far as him being able to commute sentences. I believe that his action has caused the federal government to step up and do their part. They're still falling short, but we still are holding them accountable, and we will continue to hold them accountable, the federal government. That being said, I don't believe that we're deporting anyone. It's the federal government's job to do so. It's their agreement with the compact. And so that being said, I think that we should be able to take that savings and put it back into our community where we need it.
Okay, Mr. Servino, who's
totally-
probably going to agree.
I totally agree with my colleagues, and the governor has every right to do this. And we got to have these individuals be held accountable. If you violate our laws, you're going to be treated like everybody else. And the governor has that right to ensure the public safety is addressed. So I fully support his decisions.
Okay, this next question is, you've seen it all around the island, illegal dumping. What needs to be done to stop this? Mr. Servino, may you go first?
Oh my, that's something that's dear to my heart, and it's really sad that people are out there just dumping in private property. They've dumped it in our property, and that's what really bothers me about it. But, we have to look at, as a human services individual and professional, we have to look at why, they behave this way. And our government really needs to address that. And, even the transfer station in Dededo, there's no opportunity to drop off our trash over there. So people don't want to travel all the way to Orland, all the way down to Harmon. So you need to provide more facilities to allow them to dump their trash.
AJ?
Well, we do need to be able to provide more places for our people to be able to go and dump not only their green waste, but also their appliances and what have you. And if we don't provide them that they're going to end up throwing it into the jungle, and then we're going to have to deal with that. But that being said, we also need, as a government, to hold some of the vendors accountable when it comes to their trash and how they collect their trash. Just this past weekend, you go to the flea market and you see how busy it is, and then when they all leave, there's still trash there. And if we can't even clean up our own backyard, how can we expect people to continue to follow the laws in regards to trash?
And Tina?
Crystal, I want to say there are laws in place, and I want to say that fines have been stiffened, even but recommendations from our children who believe that illegal dumping is not a good thing. But I want to tell you, I was the author of the municipal recycling bill. I was also the author of the beverage container bill. And those two legislations have been passed into law, signed by the government, but not full implementation has been there. If afforded the opportunity, I will ask the administration to please work with me on full implementation, literally taking trash and turning it into a commodity and adding, beverage containers would be given 5 cents to every container that they recycle. So it's about recycling, reducing, and reusing. And that's what we need to bring the awareness out on.
Beautifully said. Our next question is viewer submitted, and you've all probably heard this name. She's a great advocate for medicinal marijuana. And Andrea Pellicani, are you for or against the full legalization of cannabis for personal and therapeutic use, and why? AJ, you go first.
32 years as a police officer. It would be a contradiction to who I am as a person and who I have been as a law enforcement officer to support full legalization of marijuana. That I do not. I do support medicinal use. I'm 100% in support of that, but recreational, absolutely. I am not in support of that.
Tina?
Crystal is the author of medicinal cannabis and affording that for our patients who are truly suffering from debilitating health issues. Again, I know that it would be up to the people to decide whether they would want to use it or not. We did a 3-prong approach when we started this journey, full decriminalization, recreational and medicinal, and the people were not happy with the other two. They wanted to make sure that affording that alternative for patients who are really suffering, that medicinal cannabis would be a good way to start. But until those changes are made, we will work with the will of the people.
And Mr. Servino?
Again, medicinal cannabis is something that needs to be utilized by especially a lot of people with disabilities with post-traumatic stress disorder, all types of behavioral issues that they deal with in the day-to-day life. I fully support it. Again, recreational, I really don't look at that as something that's really a priority. I think it's, just like everything else, a decision people have to make, but we need to look at the regulations that have been set up and comply with it, and I'm more towards the treatment of medicinal marijuana.
Okay, again, all in agreement.
Oh, did we all agree?
Yes. This question is viewer submitted, Facebook Live. Mark Duenas asks, how do you feel about career politicians? Same senators, same reoccurring issues, hospital, public safety, and education. So how do you feel about career politicians? Should we go with the incumbent first?
Crystal, every 2 years, the people of Guam give us a report card. And that report card is whether they want us to continue to be their public servant, to do the needs and the desires of the community. I say, leave it up to the community to decide whether they want us in or out every 2 years. And that is a report card that every policy public servant has to deal with every at least for the senatorial term and the congressional term, every 2 years. For mayoral term and gubernatorial terms, it's every 4 years.
Okay. Mr. Servino?
Again, it's a decision that people make. That's why they vote you in, vote you out, right? But personally, for me, I don't plan on being a career politician. I was recruited in, I was drafted in, and it's again the calling of the people. But I don't plan to be a career politician. I just want to go in, write some good legislation, start mentoring some of our younger leaders so they can take on that role. And then I can go and retire, But I don't really support a career politician.
I too believe, and here you go again, we're all agreeing. I do believe that it is the will of the people, and to take that away from our voters is something that I'm not willing to do. I think that we should let our voters decide on how long a person should be in the legislature and how long they should not be.
Okay, and this is the final question. So we can start wiping our sweat off because I see you guys
Yes.
you're dripping over here. What are you going to do to address crime on Guam and drugs on Guam? So we should start with the police officer, AJ.
My plan is to work closely with the law enforcement, local government, law enforcement, as well as the federal government, the federal side of law enforcement. I would like to see a task force. I would like to introduce legislation that would support a task force, a local task force where they, we have the criminal justice strike force and we also have the fusion center, but there is a disconnect somewhere in the fusion center where there's information that's not being shared, or they're running short as far as being able to have somebody in their task force. So I would like to make it law to where we actually have a task force where they share information and work on fighting crime.
And Mr. Servino?
I really think the police department needs all the support they can get. We lack the number of police officers. And, when you look at the community, I often say, where are all the police officers? They should be out there, even when the traffic lights are up, and I think we need to increase the number of police officers that we have and educate the community about crime, and consequences of committing crimes. So that's a strategy that I'd like to focus on, is education, awareness, and training, provide more training for the police officers, especially in communicating with people with disabilities. If they're deaf, how do you effectively communicate with them? So we need to provide them those supports.
And Tina?
As oversight chair of tourism, we were able to think outside the box and to continue to provide resources from the Tourist Attraction Fund to work closely with law enforcement and help them out and assist them. But for me, it wouldn't even take a lot. We've done it before. We've been very successful. It's called the Neighborhood Watch. It's inviting our families to get involved, our neighbors to get involved, and let's watch and take care of each other. Step up to the plate and make sure that when we see something unusual out there and we see somebody, sneaking in or going around the back door, says, hey, let's get that neighborhood watch back into place.
Okay, beautifully said. I think I got everyone. Now it's time to wrap everything up. You each have 30 seconds for a closing comment, and they all breathe a sigh of relief. Tina, you can go first.
Thank you, Crystal. Si Jules Masi, Tatlu, Toro Hamzu, Gahu, si Senador Tina Rose, Munya Barnes, Tata Chalampago, put for bot Naya un bota. Consider these two fine gentlemen, but I humbly ask you for one vote this coming election. I'm number 12 on the Democrat side. Si Jules Masi and si Jules on Bini DC Hamza Toros.
Mr. Servino?
My name is Benito Ben Santos Servino, and I'm asking for your vote. I'm number 3 in the ballot. Please go out and register and vote, especially our younger youth. And that's your right. I encourage you to register. Please come out and vote for your candidates that will, again, take this leadership role in helping our community.
Okay, and last but not least.
I'm also humbly asking for your vote, one of your 15 votes. I'm a number 2 on the Republican side. I bring experience I will bring experience to the legislature, and I will not forget who I actually work for. And so I humbly ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, and good luck. A quick programming note, though. Next week's D16 will air on Thursday night instead of Wednesday. Thanks again for watching, and remember, your vote is your voice. Save the date, November 8th.
Closed captioning is brought to you by IT&E Life in Motion.